Hi, welcome to Your Harmony's Celebration of Love Month. This is Tony and Sage Robbins. We've been together here for 14 years, married for 12, and we love love.
We certainly do. We're actually here at our home in Sun Valley and just wanted to share with you some distinctions and pieces that brought us to here today.
So, how to create love and passion, and that's part of the most important part. You get in a relationship, and very often in the beginning it's passionate, but it doesn't last. And one of the things we're most proud of and we love in our life is that we have both those things. People stop us all the time to say, how long you guys been together? Are you newlyweds? That type of thing. So let's talk, though, just real briefly on two things for those that are single out there. And that is, how do you create the most incredible relationship or love, and what kind of prevents people from getting there? Maybe we should start with what prevents them. Most people think they need to know the right thing to say or the right strategy or the place to go. And strategy is important in life, but strategy is not usually what holds people back from getting a great relationship. It's a belief system in their head that limits them. It's a story.
It is. And honestly, those stories, I remember right before we met, I was scared and thinking, honestly, I wanted to be alone and wanted to live on my own and wasn't looking for a relationship. And then in a moment, God intervened. And I think just at that time, even though I wasn't ready or prepared, God was. And life showed up. And it was one of those divine moments. And so sometimes our fears and our stories to remain open to what's possible creates a pathway to be able to find your love.
Yeah, I was in the same place. I'd ended a relationship, and the last thing I wanted was another relationship.
Yes.
I associated so much pain to it. I had so much more joy and happiness with my kids and joy and happiness with my work and my mission. But really, the only thing that keeps you from getting what you want is the story about why you can't have it or why you don't have it. And the most common stories are things like, all the good ones are gone, or, I'm not ready, or I have too much time for work, later stage of life.
Relationships are too painful. It's not worth the time. I'm set in my ways. I love my life. My work is my first. There's just so many stories and stackings that we create that prevent us from the possibility of love.
And so you got to just first maybe analyze what's your story and find a new story, a new opportunity. And what'll help you to change your story is the third thing. We always look at breakthroughs in life where you change everything in a moment. Takes maybe a new strategy, but usually a new story, a new belief, a new opening. But it also makes a new state, a new emotional state. If you're all uptight about relationship and is this the right one? The level of tension in your body pushes people away from you.
It does.
Or if you're thinking relationship's not for me, you throw off an aura that makes people not be attracted to you. And then you wonder why, people aren't approaching you. Most people has nothing to do with what they're physically like. People that are physically beautiful, but they're ugly in their state. They're angry, they're frustrated, they're embittered. If you change your state, you start to change everything, including your story.
Yeah.
What are some other states they might want to consider as a
stage? Just playfulness and openness, and rather than the constriction and the control of trying to make it happen, just being open to life and trusting and guiding and knowing that, he or she's out there for you.
And so if you really want to create this, if you get rid of what stops you, think about how do you create anything in your life? If you look at your life and think of something that's in your life today, right now, that once was a dream or a goal or a desire. I don't care if it was a job, a home, a relationship you got that maybe didn't want afterwards, but when you created something that seemed difficult or impossible, you usually did three things. First, you got obsessed about it, right? You got so clear about what you wanted and you unleashed your desire. You thought about it constantly. You were immersed in whatever it is you wanted. Again, whether it be a job, relationship, anything in your life. And that desire, desire in Latin means of the Father. When you tap into your deepest desire, it's like a magical pull. It creates a hunger in you and a drive in you. And if you get that desire really revved up, the second thing is making sure that you're willing to do whatever it takes to make it happen. That's to take massive action, not just say, I want this, but the willingness to try things and fail.
My honey took massive action when he found me.
That's another story.
It is another story. But it's, and it's also getting clear on what's important to you and what's most meaningful to you. And those of you who are fearful and have had a painful relationship or not a positive relationship in the past, honestly, that just gives you a background for the foreground. And it gives you a context for what what you want and what you're not willing to settle for again.
Every relationship is a chance to learn, and as you learn, if you learn without the heaviness of it, it just allows you to make better choices in the future. So if you know exactly what you want, and you're obsessed about it, you think about it, you dream about it, and you're willing to do whatever it takes, and you take massive action, something doesn't work, you change, then the third thing you need to create anything is just a little bit of grace. Some people call it luck, some people call it God, but it's grace. And I found that the more you do the first two steps, where you're clear about what you want, and you're willing to do whatever it takes, the more grace shows up in your life. That, and the more you acknowledge the grace in your life.
Absolutely. Acknowledging the grace is so huge, because a lot of times when there's scarcity and you're feeling like, oh my gosh, is he or she ever going to show up? You don't see just all the blessings and gifts and friendships, and you never know, he or she might be right in front of you. And sometimes it comes in the most unexpected packages. It did for the two of us, and something beautiful was created out of that. So that's the trust and the faith that you're guiding. It's also perfect and meant to be.
So here's the practical side of how you can make this happen. 3 quick steps. When you turn this video off, first thing you should do is...
Where, as you can tell, it's snowing, so...
Whose idea was this to come outside?
I don't know, it's kind of nutty. Sorry.
What we're going to do is 3 things. When you turn off the video, first, this is what we both did independently. We didn't know each other, but we made lists of exactly what we wanted in a relationship. You know, very often you look at your past relationship and you use it as a filter. Instead, say, what do I want instead of what do I not want to start with? What are the character traits? What do they like spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, everything? I wrote 4.5 pages of this right after my divorce because I was so sad and felt like, you know, is there ever going to be a relationship I'd really want? And I decided, stop focusing on the past and focus on what you want to create. That's how I've done everything else in my life. So I made the list and I started reading it every day. But then I went through the list and I highlighted what was really a must. Some things are kind of a should on your list. What's really a must? What are the things that really matter? Second list you got to make is what you don't want. And the good news is some of your past relationships will teach you that too. Because sometimes you get so much of what you want and you get this other part you don't want and it destroys all the good. So what are the things you absolutely do not want in a relationship? What would you despise? What would you avoid? Often when we want people to create, you know, a great job, we'll say, describe the job from heaven, but describe the job from hell. Because people are good at describing the job from hell. Well, the same thing with a relationship. Describe the relationship from hell and mark the ones that are a must for you not to experience. Now you know what you want and what you don't want. The last list is, and the most important one, what kind of person would you have to become to attract and keep the kind of person that you want in your life?
And that's so key, to be so clear on what the gifts you're bringing to the table rather than just the expectation what somebody's going to bring. And to live in a space of heart, to live in a space of love, and to be open and to trust and to have the character and integrity that you want in your reciprocal and your partner, to live that and embody that and be true to yourself. Because if you are that, you will attract that reciprocal.
I don't think there's anything more important in life. You won't keep somebody, even if you can attract them, if you don't become the kind of person that people want to be with. And that's not being fake or phony. It's finding the best parts of you and deciding, this is my standard for myself. I'm not going to let things drop below that. And you're going to keep increasing it. So what would you have to believe to attract the quality of person you want? What emotions would you have to live in every day? Would it be more gratitude, more grace, more passion, more desire? What would it be that would make you not only feel good, but really have aliveness be a part of your life on a regular basis? And what might you have to let go of? What false belief, what old story might you have to let go of? Make a list of what you really want, what you don't want, what's a must on each list, and who you got to be. And if you read that every day, I was literally reading it every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times after my divorce. And then after about a month of doing that, I might have read it maybe once a week. And then one day we were together and we were dating. We were